with our favorite UFC words from the one, the only Big John McCarthy.
All right, Drew, are you ready? Josh, are you ready? Let's get it on, come on!
All right, here we go. Drew Ficket coming out wild with some strikes. Good job avoiding those by Josh. Drew's being very aggressive with his strikes. Josh got a hold of a leg. Josh Koshek, former All-American wrestler, phenomenal grappler. Drew Fickett's no slouch himself. He's got a wealth of mixed martial arts experience, much more than Koshek, but he's airborne. Now he's on his back.
Koshek with the great ability to take an opponent down. His wrestling is highly regarded, and it should be.
Yeah, it is top of the food chain. He's a phenomenal wrestler. Former national champion, several-time All-American, and a very accomplished mixed martial arts fighter. He's really become much more of a mixed martial arts fighter since his debut on that show. A lot of people criticize his performance from the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, but you have to realize he was basically a wrestler on that show. I mean, he has learned a lot and really dedicated himself to the mixed martial arts game ever since then.
Tonight's clock is sponsored by Saw 2, the ultimate Halloween event. In theaters everywhere, October 28th. This match scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the welterweight category. Koshek in the red trunks, Ficket in the dark trunks.
Josh is trying to get out of Fickett's half guard. He's almost got his leg free, and Fickett's doing a really good job of keeping it in there. Really good dexterity of the legs by Ficket.
The word I would use to describe Josh Koshek is that he's a sponge, and that's what everyone who has been training with Koshek says. He picks things up so quickly, Joe, and he wants to be a mixed martial artist. He's not a wrestler who says, I'll get by with my wrestling. He's a mixed martial artist who wants to learn everything, absorb it like a sponge, and be a world champion.
Well, he's a very smart guy, and he is an elite athlete. And to get to that elite status, to get to that national championship wrestling status, you have to have a phenomenal mind and incredible will. And the kind of guy that can do that is the kind of guy that can excel at anything he sets his mind to. Josh Koshek is setting his mind to becoming a real mixed martial arts fighter. Once you understand how to get really good at something, once you understand how to be great at one thing, you understand what it takes to be great at anything you apply yourself to. And that's what we see with Josh Koshek. And again, Drew Ficket is no slouch.
No question. And Ficket coming back, trying to get into a winning groove, if you will, after losing to Nick Diaz early. He was very impressive with his victory over Josh Neer. And Josh Koshek, Ultimate Fight Night 1, just down the street at the Cox Pavilion, beat Pete Spratt in his debut at 170 pounds. So both coming off victories over some pretty tough guys.
Koshek has got the full. You see phenomenal control by Koshek. Ooh, good job by Ficket in getting out of there and bucking and getting to the half guard. Very good defensive job by Drew Ficket right there.
The one thing that Koshek has is that wrestler's mentality of being relentless against your opponent.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got the conditioning, and he's used to doing that. You know, they're used to operating at that pace. Again, the mount. Now, for those at home that don't understand this position, this is a very dangerous position. He is past Drew Fickett's hips, on top of him, controlling him. And Drew Ficket doing a really good job of getting out of that spot. And now he's in a better position where he's in the guard.
Don't forget, Friday night, live on pay-per-view, 10 o'clock in the East, 7 on the West Coast. UFC 55 Fury, heavyweight title on the line Friday night, live on pay-per-view. Andre Arlovsky against Paul Buentello. Should be a wonderful evening.
Yeah, let's go.
We're seeing a really good job by Drew Ficket defensively here. Every time Josh mounts him, every time Josh gets an advantageous position, Ficket squirming and moving and using his legs to get into a better spot defensively. Right now, he's got one butterfly in, which he is using to lift up Josh and throw off his balance, and he's throwing the other leg across, trying to get to either full guard or maybe possibly get a sweep.
Good work, come on.
He's rolling here.
Let's go, let's go. Get busy, let's go.
Koshek doing a good job here in round 1 of controlling, and that is what the wrestler does. He controls. Ficket, the master, out of Tucson, Arizona, 25 years old. Koshek, 27 years old.
That should tell you a lot about his personality. That's his nickname.
Oh. Yeah, And you know what? We've learned a lot about his personality just from talking to him.
Very confident guy.
Yes.
And rightly so.
Let's go. Finish out the round.
So round one will go to Josh Koshek. Good control, and he's opened up the eye of Drew Ficket. For Josh Koshek with the early takedown of Drew Ficket.
We missed that over the graphic. What happened was Josh Koshek just immediately shot in and slammed Drew Ficket on his back. Drew Ficket is in guard now.
That's a good way to win, and that is aggression, grappling, octagon control. So far, Josh Koshek is doing it all. The one question at one point, and I know he finished Pete Spratt with the rear naked choke. He finished Chris Stanford with a KO punch in the first. You know, how many different times is Koshek going to be able to finish as he gets to go against tougher opponents?
You know what? He's going to be able to finish a lot more than people think. Here's the reason why. First of all, he's an elite grappler already. And learning jiu-jitsu, once you're already an elite grappler, it's not nearly as difficult. Look at that, the mount, bang. He's on an accelerated learning curve because of his intelligence, his athleticism, or whatever, and also because he's got so much experience in competition. And here you see now, I mean, he's performing under pressure in a phenomenal way. He's mounted on Drew Ficket here, and Drew is starting to wear out. Drew's not nearly as active or mobile on the ground now as he was in the first round. You saw the and like right when I said that, he rolls out of it. Josh got it on. Drew's back up to his feet. And Josh relentless. Immediately grabs a hold of the legs. You're going to see him suck up those legs and pull him away from the cage and slam him on his back.
Well, when you look at Drew Ficket, I mean, he is wrestling first as well, developing his jiu-jitsu, so he is not entirely unlike Josh Koshek, but Koshek's wrestling is superior to Drew Ficket.
You know, when Diego Sanchez and Josh Koshek faced each other on the show, Diego said before he fought him, he thought that he was as good a wrestler as him. And he realized that Koshek is just on another level. And he would have never known that unless they trained together.
Don't forget Monday nights, including tonight, here on Spike TV, it is The Ultimate Fighter 2. 18 fighters, 2 contracts. No longer are there 18 fighters remaining. Heavyweights and welterweights are coaches Matt Hughes and Rich Franklin. So far, it has been wonderfully entertaining. I know you have enjoyed it. And it's coming up next on Spike TV.
Ficket is staying active. He's throwing those legs up, looking for something, but Koshek is just relentless.
The reason Koshek is here tonight, because he was one of the stars who was able to shine brightly in season #1 of The Ultimate Fighter. So it's not just the two that rewarded the contracts. It's Koshek tonight, Lieben, Nate Quarry. A lot of stars were born during those many treacherous weeks inside a house, caged up together with other men who wanted the same thing you did. From the bottom, and he caught Josh Koshek.
Josh looks okay, though, and he's passed. Now he's in half guard. Dropping elbows down.
And you know what, Joe? Tonight is a big night for Josh Koshek and for Chris Lieben, because if they are both victorious, they will be ranked in the top 10 of the world. These are the coming out parties, potentially, for Koshek and Lieben after battling through The Ultimate Fighter.
Absolutely, and maybe, who knows, in the future, we might see a rematch between those two guys.
Oh, that would be good.
Absolutely, we know there is no love lost between them. Good elbows by Josh. Look at this. Drew Fickett's got a hold of the heel.
Very calm there.
He's got his legs free. He's got his legs in a better position now. Now he's got a straight ankle lock. This is very bad for Josh.
Josh is shaking
his head like it's no big deal. But this is in tight. This is in tight.
Fickett's really trying to work it. Koshek doesn't look any worse for the wear right now.
The legs are not that tight around his leg. He doesn't have his legs locked in and tied up together. But he's got a really good... Nope, he let it go.
And you know what? Ficket really looked like he was the one working harder than Josh Koshek.
Now Fickett's on top.
Ficket starting to push the pace a little bit. Koshek's able to use that superior wrestling again.
Yeah, I mean, he's just on another level with his wrestling.
4-time Division I All-American wrestler out of the state of Pennsylvania, 2001 national champion in wrestling at Edinburgh U of Pennsylvania with a 42-0 record. 4-time Academic Achievement Award winner as well. So a very, very well-rounded young man. It's not like we haven't seen some decent wrestlers turn into some pretty good mixed martial artists.
Yeah, well,
Randy Couture.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few of them. I mean, again, they're probably the most elite athlete. I mean, wrestlers, those guys are in incredible shape, incredible conditioning. They've got great drive and discipline, and when they apply that to mixed martial arts, you see phenomenal results.
Well, it's been applied for 10 minutes so far by Josh Koshek. Ficket tried to work the ankle. Koshek was very relaxed and is walking perfectly. Doesn't seem like he hurt him at all.
A little bit of offensive action from Drew Ficket. You see that kick from the bottom, right on the chin. And then again, here's another time he got a hold of an ankle. Looked like he had it in pretty tight. But Josh shook it off.
Out in the open mat. You ready?
Koshek trying to go to 7-0 in his mixed martial arts career. Much less experienced than Drew Ficket at 28-3 coming in. And I'll tell you what, he's gaining in experience and a love for this game at a very rapid pace.
Nice leg kick by Drew. He's looking a little sloppy there on his feet. He's going to get taken down again. There it is.
Ducked under the striking attempt and was able to get the double leg.
I just think, he's just faced that pressure from Koshek, and that's got to wear on you. He's been relentless. Drew's in excellent shape, but it's hard to weather that for a solid 10 minutes.
Remember Koshek, when he was on the show, and even in his UFC debut at the Cox Pavilion, he was fighting at 185. At 170, he's just going to be that much more explosive.
Yeah, he's phenomenal at 170. That's his natural weight. You saw a lot of guys from that show that were fighting well above their weight class just for the opportunity. Kenny Florian is the greatest example. And there's a guy who's a natural 155-pounder, was fighting 30 pounds above his weight and made it to the finals. That's hard. That's heart and skill right there.
Don't forget Friday night, live on pay-per-view, UFC 55. Speaking of the Ultimate Fighter, Forrest Griffin on the card that night in a light heavyweight matchup against Elvis Sinisek, Joe Riggs, Chris Lytle, Renato Babalu, Soul Brawl, and of course, for the heavyweight championship, Quintello and Arlovsky. It's live on pay-per-view Friday from the Mohegan Sun. Oh, how good will that be?
Drew Ficket still working the full guard off his back, trying to figure out something offensively from this position. Throwing his legs around, looking for arms, looking for a triangle. He's got Josh's shoulder locked here with his left leg, but they're very slippery right now.
And he's going to have to do something here, Joe, or he's going to lose this. He's going to lose this battle on points, quite simply, because the first 2 rounds have undoubtedly gone to Josh Koshek.
Josh is just overwhelming here. Constant pressure, constant punches. You hear Drew's corner screaming, Drew, you gotta move. I think he's just simply exhausted from all this pressure that Koshek's put on him.
Right there, let's go.
Big John McCarthy gonna stand him up?
Yeah, we love that. We love that. We want to keep the action going for the fans, Joe. And that's the thing. If there's not somebody getting a dominant position on the ground, our referees will stand the fighters up. I saw you get more of this. A good knee, but Koshek takes him right down. That's why we stand the fighters up, to keep the pace of the action as wall-to-wall as it can be for you, our loyal viewer. That's what Ultimate Fighting is all about.
I don't know if the viewers are that loyal.
No,
they're really that loyal.
No, they're loyal. I'm telling you, they're loyal.
They like action.
Are they athletic? Do they have that? Never mind. Like I haven't fumbled on my words before.
We're reaching for nothing. We're
Scrambling in the first round, scrambling in the second, and Ficket in the third now.
Speaking of scrambling, Drew Fickett's got to scramble here. He's got to go for it. He's got no room here. He's clearly lost 2 rounds, and he's losing this 3rd round. He's got to take a wild chance. He's got to do something.
And you can see the conditioning of Koshek is absolutely superior. Not overly superior to Ficket, but superior in the ranks of normal conditioning, because he is pushing it as diligently in minute 13 and minute 14 as he was in minutes 2 and 3.
And again, he's an elite athlete.
Yeah.
He's used to competing at this level, and he's used to competing with this kind of intensity and this kind of pressure.
He'll also, though, Joe, interestingly enough, he'll also be the first to admit that he hasn't quite reached the Hughes status. He hasn't quite reached the top of the food chain. That's why I think he's improved so rapidly, because he's humble enough to know that he can get better every day.
Oh, he's a very objective guy, and he's got massive potential. I mean, he's a guy who's just learning this game. And if you looked at his striking from the early days of the show, and then you look, I mean, there's footage of him training on the internet now with boxing coaches, and man, he's got really good hands. I mean, his hands have improved markedly. And that's just a sign. It's just an obvious example of his intelligence and his athleticism and his ability to learn and improve. He wants to be a champion mixed martial arts fighter. He was a champion wrestler.
What a turnaround!
Punchers or a near's chance. Wow, what a stunning turn of events as Koshek is choked out by Drew Ficket, and Ficket gains the victory in stunning fashion. Wow, what a finish for Drew Ficket.
Declaring the winner, Drew the Master.
Koshek controlled all but the final 32 seconds, and Ficket turned it around. Joe Rogan.
Drew, never say die, Ficket. Congratulations. Looks like you were losing the fight. Moments left. You pulled off the victory with a high kick and a choke. How you feeling there?
Losing the fight? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Josh was dominating me. Good wrestler. Had to say I was a little intimidated since he is a good wrestler and I come from a wrestling standpoint, but I was just hanging in there. I knew every time we were on our feet, you know, I had the opportunity to knock him out. And
were you ever discouraged? I mean, you had to know that the time was dying. There was not much time left in the fight.
I don't think about that. I mean, I fight till the very end, and that's why I've had other fights. Being as experienced as I am, one against Carlo Prater, where I was losing the whole fight. Last 30 seconds, I submitted him.
Well, obviously you do fight to the end. Talk us through the finish.
Oh, that's awesome. I've never really knocked someone down with a strike before. That's pretty good stuff. Thanks to Trevor Lally over here. And it looks like he was going out, and John stopped it. He was out. Once again, watch your back, guys. Watch your back.
Well, congratulations, Drew. Fantastic victory, and we really look forward to seeing you again. Drew Ficket, ladies and gentlemen.
It's game time, baby.
4 minutes and 28 seconds of the third round, which means that his opponent tonight, Drew Fickett's opponent, Josh, was 32 seconds away from victory. Back to Joe Rogan.
Josh, you were 30 seconds away from victory. You were dominating the fight. What goes through your head now?
Well, I know that I dominated the whole fight, you know, lucky knee and then hopped on my back. Choked me out, so hats off to him, but I'll be back. You know, I'll get back here. So
where do you go from here? Do you go and review the tape? Do you think about your strategy? What do you do from here?
No, I just go and train more, you know. Just to finish the fight early, I had plenty of opportunities. Kind of let my fans down, but you know what? Everybody loses in this sport, and you know, a champion always goes back and trains and figures out what's going to happen. So no big deal.
Well, that's the attitude that's made you the athlete you are, and I'm sure you'll improve from this.
Thank you.
Josh Koshek, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, it comes to my mind right now that this may very well be a defining moment not only for Drew Ficket, but also for Josh Koshek, because he will train harder, and Ficket now will move up the ladder within his division of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, taking out his opponent.